Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Welcome, everyone. As you join, please mute and turn off your video. Good morning, everyone. As you enter the room, please mute and turn off your video. Thank you. We'll be starting promptly at 10:05 a.m. Thank you. What's everyone doing for the holidays?
Not going on social media.
For real.
I think I'm gonna put up a struggle tree this year. And
You said a struggle tree? I cannot.
I can't.
The struggle
I'm
is
trying to figure out where the heck I'm gonna be.
I can't do the forest this year, so I'm gonna put up a struggle tree and then do the usual going to my sister's house with the family.
You're gonna be like the Charlie Brown where it's like a scraggly tree with like 1 or 2 ornaments. Because I would love
Yeah.
that picture.
I'm not even getting out the boxes of ornaments. It's too much. It's too much. I'm gonna print out those emojis that look like and just hang those all over it.
Oh, I feel like that's like the therapy is the Christmas tree.
Yeah, I like it, but then I know me, it'll be up until April. And anyone who's ever been here in April knows I'm not joking. So
Mine is up
It's like
to
a concept now, like people keep the tree up year round and then they like change it for like
yeah, I don't change
decorations.
it. I just leave it.
oh.
Nah.
And who dusts it? Who dusts it when you keep it up all year?
And that's the problem. So
Hey, Taisha, can you check your text for me real quick, please?
Yeah.
I so far have 2 trees up, just lights only. Have one at one house and one at the other. I have no idea what I'm
I'm
doing.
popping off screen for 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. Hey, NT, check your email, and I'm also putting it in the document. And really quickly. All right, so I'll handle it later. All right, it's 10:05, so we're gonna get started. It's 10:05, our last town hall, 12/05/2021 at 10 a.m. starting time with that cushion of 5 minutes to get everyone in. I'm just gonna start with some housekeeping. Don't forget to register to vote. So that's gonna be huge. Because voting opens actually tomorrow, 0600, I believe. So make sure again that if you have not been receiving any TWU emails, or you know a friend that has not been receiving TWU emails, please direct them to the link that I just posted up there. Also, if you don't have a TA or you would like in-person conversations from either your negotiating team members or TAP, we are going to be available, especially from tomorrow through the 8th, and various times throughout the rest of the voting period, but definitely from the 6th to the 8th at all of the airports. So again, if you don't have a paper TA and you're looking for a paper TA, definitely either show up on your airport stuff, just reach out to us, or PM or DM us, either email or social media, and we can get one from you. Also check out the b6.tw.org website as a whole. You'll find your FAQs as it relates to the contract, as well as all of the town halls and videos that have been shown throughout this tentative TA2 education rollout experience. As we stated before, this town hall is also going to be special. It is going to be our bilingual town hall because we are unpacking LOD. So, bienvenidos a nuestra última reunión del ayuntamiento el 5 de diciembre de 2021. El ayuntamiento de hoy tendrá momentos de habla en inglesa y española. So, gracias a todos los que se unieron a nosotros, incluido TWU, nuestro equipo de negociación y todos ustedes. So what I just said was welcome to our last town hall meeting on December 5th, 2021. Today's town hall will have both English and Spanish speaking moments. And thank you everyone for joining us, including TWU, our negotiating team, and you all. So we're gonna get started with our bilingual town hall, and we're gonna unpack LOD first. So that's going to be Ernesto. Your LOD article is Article 28. Ernesto is our negotiating team member representing Orlando, and I'm going to hand it off to them. Thank you.
Mic check 1, 2. Yeah. That was quite an introduction, Taisha. A lot of shoe for me to fill right there, but try I will. Nuevamente saludo a toda mi gente latina, los digo, aquellos de nosotros que estudiamos el lenguaje o lo aprendimos simplemente a través de amigos. So, mucho más como pude yo aprender el lenguaje de portugués, hablando con mis amigos practicando jiu-jitsu. So, bienvenido a todos nuevamente. Gracias por su tiempo. Vamos a poner los binoculares para poder leer bien. Le pido disculpa a todos de antemano. Trataré de hacer un buen trabajo aquí con traducir todo, obviamente lenguaje español al lenguaje de español y claro, un poco explicar en inglés y bueno, empezaremos. Nuevamente bienvenido a todos. El artículo de LOD sería el artículo número 28, si tienen su tentative agreement a mano, y sería empezando en la página 132. Vamos a empezar primero con la matrícula y el compromiso, so enrollment and commitment. Pudimos traerlo de vuelta a 2 años, como estaba originalmente, al menos cuando yo había empezado con el programa, que en aquel tiempo no era LOD, era Spanish Qualified Program. La compañía en algún momento, creo que fue, si no me equivoco, en el 2008 lo había cambiado a 5 años. Y pudimos nuevamente traerlo de vuelta a 2 años. So, el compromiso será de 2 años. Si entran al programa, entonces el compromiso nuevamente sería 2 años. Los requisitos de personal seguirán una evaluación anual para determinar cuántas opciones de exclusión estarían disponibles de tomar, que también se basaría en la necesidad de la operación, y puede que no esté disponible todos los años. So, nuevamente eso es para si es que le interesa salir del programa, pues eso seguirá una evaluación que es anual. Las opciones de exclusión obviamente se otorgarán por orden de senioridad. Y también quiero acordarles que este artículo no es muy largo. muchas de las cosas se permanece igual, con excepción con excepción de algunos cambios que trabajan a nuestro favor con tener más flexibilidad en el programa. Pero todo lo demás, mucho de lo demás se quedará igual. Cualquier in-flight crew member que practique en el programa de LOD está sujeto a auditorias, claro, el poder leer, escribir, hablar, traducir. Las pruebas serán realizadas por la compañía. So, again, the testing will be done by the company. Y notificarán dentro de 7 días posteriores la decisión para entrar al programa. So, en cuestión de bidding, requerido a bidear al menos dos viajes LOD al mes utilizando el sistema de bid. So, nuevamente se quedará igual. Lo bueno es que pudimos tener escrito aquí en este contrato que la compañía ya no puede cambiar el mínimo mensual de 2 como lo pueden hacer ahora mismo. Obviamente el límite sería de 2 viajes al mes, o la compañía en cualquier momento, mucho más como han hecho con el critical coverage, que pueden decidir en cualquier momento que sabes que este mes va a ser, el mínimo va a ser 4 o 5. Solo tenemos escrito que se quedará a 2 al mes, nuevamente utilizando el sistema de bid. Si hay muchos viajes LOD en open time, después del 48-hour first come first serve window, entonces crew planning puede que tome la decisión de construir LOD move up lines. Eso es nuevamente si ya después que salga la agenda, los bids, pues entonces si quedan mucho, pues entonces esa decisión la puede tomar crew planning. Transferencias de bases se basarán nuevamente, como hablamos anterior, se basarán en la necesidad de la operación y se otorgarán en orden de senioridad. Si la compañía anuncia que hay una base nueva que requiere personal LOD, pues puede ingresar una preferencia de base en FLICA cuando se abra el LOD System Bid. Que obviamente el LOD System Bid es separado al System Bid regular, que digamos. Y claro, nuevamente, como siempre, como lo es todo, se otorgarán en orden de senioridad. Si acaso hay más LOD de lo necesario, entonces las transferencias pueden que se pongan en pausa hasta que haya transferencias de salida en la base. Todos LODs asignados a una base, disculpa, en cuestión de pago, si los LOD asignados a un viaje LOD, se les pagará lo mismo, $2 a la hora, que es industry standard, y eso es a todos los LODs que están trabajando el viaje, no solamente uno. Claro, si hay un LOD en el viaje y estás volando a la posición número 1, pues entonces vienes ganando $4 a la hora en adición. 2 horas por ser el número 1 y 2 horas por ser el LOD en la posición número 1. Cada viaje, en las modificaciones de LOD, cada viaje debe tener al menos un LOD, pero puede que tenga más. Si al subir o bajar el calibre de una aeronave debido a la necesidad de la operación, el LOD debe permanecer en el viaje si alguno de los segmentos restantes involucra destinos LOD. Independiente, eso viene independiente de senioridad. Si obviamente los vuelos que siguen tienen destino LOD, pues entonces el LOD se quedará en el viaje. Crew Services tendrá la capacidad de reasignar al LOD con menos senioridad a otro vuelo LOD debido a necesidad de operación. Me disculpan que a veces ni puedo entender mi propia letra cuando escribo. Ok, ahora moviendo a LOD Trade Swaps Drops. Esto aquí donde subimos, nos ganamos el bizcocho, que digamos. Ahora LOD podrán bajar a 0 viajes LOD al mes, siempre y cuando utilicen el trade board para poder hacerle trade o dárselo a otro LOD crew member. So que después que sea LOD, les puede hacer trade y pueden bajar a cero. So nuevamente, obviamente, uno tiene que obviamente poner en el system bid mensual al menos 2 viajes LOD. Claro, puede que te den award de más, pero puedo bajar a cero utilizando el trade board. You know, I mean, I can tell you how many times, cuántas veces he querido a darle un viaje porque necesito el día libre, and there's plenty of people that are willing, able to take the trip, pero como no eran LOD, pues no se podía hacer nada. So ahí salimos ganando. So nuevamente acordar, bajamos la matrícula a 2 años, el compromiso a 2 años. El mínimo sería al mes 2, cuando estén haciendo el bidding for 2, at least 2 a month, y ya la compañía no puede cambiarlo, siempre y cuando quieran hacerlo. Y lo otro es que nuevamente podemos bajar a 0 LOD al mes utilizando el trade board, siempre y cuando le estén dando el trade a otro LOD cualificado, another LOD and flight crew member. So, creo que ahí terminamos con todo. Nuevamente, gracias, le pido disculpas de antemano. Y cualquier cosa, obviamente, si tienen alguna pregunta, pueden utilizar el correo electrónico de nuestra página, b6.tw.org. Estaremos en el aeropuerto esta semana acordándonos a todos de asegurarnos que estamos registrados para votar. Y gracias, nuevamente gracias a todos, felicidades este año. Y and thank you, Taisha, for your time. I appreciate everybody's patience, and thank you.
All right, gracias Ernesto por todo lo que hace. Con esto concluye el artículo 28 de LOD. So that is, thank you Ernesto for everything that you do. This concludes LOD Article 28. Part of the reason why we decided to do a bilingual town hall is we do want to give space to those and to celebrate the diversity of our population of our in-flight crew members and provide a space, a safe space for them to be able to gain understanding and clarity as it relates to TA2 in their original language if English is not their first language. So I definitely, again, thank Ernesto for providing a Spanish experience for those who are definitely LOD or could be LOD and have Spanish as either their first language or are bilingual and fluent in Spanish. So we are going to move on to our next article unpacking. This article unpacking is going to be Article 19, furlough and recall. This article unpacking is going to be done by Brendan, our LAX negotiating team representative, and I'm going to hand it off to Brendan. Brendan, good morning.
Buenos días, Taisha, y a todos. Y gracias a Ernesto, mi hermano. Muy bien hecho. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining the call. As always, thanks to Taisha for hosting. First, before we get into what we have in the tentative agreement when it comes to furlough and recall, I just want to discuss for a moment our current quote-unquote no furlough policy, because that is something that the company over the years has liked to try to gaslight us on. And it's something that is very important to understand. The company can claim as many times as they want that we have a quote unquote no furlough policy, but that does not provide one iota of protection when it comes down to an instance when we may have an overstaffing problem here. And we know that over the summer and over the over the year 2020, we were overstaffed. And fortunately, many of us in-flight crew members sacrificed pay for many months in order to protect other in-flight crew members' jobs and our own. And also the payroll support program that was authorized by Congress protected all of our jobs throughout the pandemic. Luckily, that was also extended a second time to provide more money to the airlines in order to provide for our salaries. So that is the reason why we weren't quote unquote furloughed by the company this past year. Furthermore, as at-will employees, we do not have any protections when it comes to job security. At-will employment means the company can let you go from your employment, terminate you at any time for any reason or no reason at all. So the no furlough policy that the company espouses and likes to mention, and in fact, a leader of ours just did so on a recent virtual pocket session. Just understand that provides you absolutely no protection at all. And there was also mention on that call that union contracts, quote unquote, allow for furloughs. And now this must be addressed because that could not be further from the truth. And what we will discuss about this furlough article in our tentative agreement is that it protects us. It provides us protection in the event that the company is overstaffed and must reduce staffing. It allows for furlough in the sense that it protects us by providing us a guaranteed right to our job when the time comes for the staffing to return to what it was previously. So I just wanted to get that on record that the no furlough policy, quote unquote, that we have now is no such thing. So I hope I was able to explain that briefly, but it's an important to understand what that means. So we'll go through the article, and first and foremost, what the article does say is that it requires the company to meet with our union in order to discuss and implement, if possible, furlough mitigation steps prior to implementing any involuntary furloughs. So that is a good thing, and obviously avoiding furloughs is something that is clearly the goal, and our union would have the opportunity to work with the company to try to prevent any involuntary furloughs prior to. It also forces the company to offer voluntary furloughs prior to any furlough. So it's involuntary furlough. So the company would be forced to offer all in-flight crew members the time to the opportunity to volunteer to take that time off rather than forcing anybody to do it involuntarily. The next important protection that we gain in this article is the fact that furlough, if necessary, involuntary furlough, will be done in reverse occupational seniority. Those of you who were here at the time will remember that the company was threatening to and stated numerous times that if we were overstaffed and we didn't have the volunteers necessary to reduce staffing to the levels necessary to operate, that the company was going to furlough, quote unquote, which means let everyone go with no recall rights, by base rather than by occupational seniority. And obviously that would be a completely unjust violation of our seniority and something that would be just completely unfair. In this article, if the company does need to furlough, that will be done in reverse seniority order from the bottom up. The only fair and just way of processing a furlough. Next, what this article also does is it makes it more expensive for the company to furlough in-flight crew members. And what that does is it reduces the chances that the company will want to furlough us. If it's more expensive for them to do so, they are less likely to do that. We all know how focused on the bottom line the company is. And so this article provides for every in-flight crew member who is subject to furlough and is furloughed will receive furlough pay, starting with at minimum 2 weeks of furlough pay and up to, depending on your length of service, up to 12 weeks, up to 3 months of furlough pay. Also, while you're receiving furlough pay, you will continue to receive your health insurance, dental and vision benefits throughout that time. Next, what I wanted to mention is we gain, as part of this article, what are called recall rights. And this is hugely important. This is something that we only gain under our union contract. We do not, as I mentioned at the beginning of the discussion on this article, we have no right to recall. So if we are let go because the company is overstaffed, that's it. We're gone. They can, when they need more people, put out requests for applications and take anyone who applies. I can be a 5-year flight attendant with JetBlue and put in 5 years of dedicated professional service and be let go and then have no right to my job back when the company decides they want to start hiring again. That's under current policy. Once we ratify our agreement, we will gain the right to recall, and you will have those rights for 5 years. So if the company were to furlough you, you would have the right to return to your job for at most 5 years, and the company is prohibited from hiring anyone else before they provide you the opportunity to return to your job. It is something that is extremely important. It is a humongous win in this contract. It provides a tremendous benefit and job security to us. It's something that needs to be clearly understood and appreciated for the value that it provides. Furthermore, if you are furloughed and you say you find another job opportunity, or you decide to go back to school, or you have some other life experience that you are involved with at that time, you do have the right to bypass your recall. So if the company is returning to previous levels of the operation and need more people, and they are recalling flight attendants back to the job, you have the chance and the opportunity to bypass, which means you can say, you can go to the next in-flight crew member on the list, and so on, until there's no one left junior to you to be recalled. That's another important win in this article. Lastly, if you are furloughed, you will continue to accrue and maintain your longevity and seniority. So if you are out on furlough, you will continue to gain seniority, and that is also an important win in this article. So this article is just a huge win for us. Do not let management's suggestions otherwise to try to make you think that this is somehow not the huge win that it is, because it's a promise that if and when the company is overstaffed, they will look to reduce staffing. If you do not have furlough and recall rights in a union contract, in this union contract, you are out on your own without protection, no matter what the company policy is, quote unquote, stated as no furlough policy. I have still not seen that in writing. And I would like anybody to tell me how that no furlough policy is enforced. It's not a legally binding contract like the one we are about to have once we ratify this tentative agreement that provides these rights to recall furlough pay, as I just described. So I appreciate the chance to go through this article and to compare it to current company policy and how different they are. So thanks, Taisha.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Brendan, again, just unpacked our furlough and recall policy. As a housekeeping note, this furlough and recall is actually above industry standard. It's going to be probably one of our best protection articles that we have in our TA2. It's really important to state that when a furlough and recall is codified like this, that means that we don't have to have the experience of inconsistencies with the company as it relates to what occurred last year with our COVID leads and them stating one thing and then making changes on us on the back end. So again, really important to state that furlough and recall, this is a codified article. A lot of things that were needed and wanted for our work group as it relates to protections, especially during this time in the industry, is really important to have. So we're going to move on to our next article. That's going to be general union info. That's Article 34 in your hymnals. 34 article, page 159. That's going to be unpacked by Dee, our Fort Lauderdale negotiating team representative. Good morning, Dee.
Good morning, Taisha, and once again, thank you for doing an excellent job moderating our last town hall and all of the town halls. So I just like to say about Article 34, General Union Information, that this whole article is a win. This allows our union to begin to have some leverage regarding any events that will happen in the company. So I'm going to just highlight some of the events of this article, because a lot of it does pertain to the union, what they will be allowed to do, how our president will be paid, and with loss of time. So starting at the first letter A, that any agreement between the company and the union must be in writing. It will be signed by authorized representative of the parties thereto. The company will make any mutual agreement available electronically to all in-flight crew members for additions to his or her contract. During the life of this contract, there will be no strikes or lockouts. The company would not be able to lock us out, and we will agree not to strike, and the union will not authorize or take part in any slowdown or work stoppages. The company shall also provide a mutually agreed upon space for a lockable glass covered bulletin so that you all will be able to get information as needed on the posting of matters of union businesses, and the material bearing the signature or the initials of the union president or his or her designees, so that you always know that this is official information. Upon request, the company will provide to the union electronically a copy of the current addresses and the company emails of any in-flight crew member who is delinquent in the payment of her union dues. We all know that it is a requirement to pay union dues during the life of this contract. The company will recognize and utilize union committees that have been established in according with this agreement. How important is that to us? We now have a scheduling committee that is authorized. We have a health and safety committee that is authorized. We have a grievance committee that is authorized. All of our committees authorized and recognized by the company to represent us when we need them. The company will provide the union with the names and company email addresses of all in-flight crew members who are eligible for union membership within 15 days of completion of initial training. We will know all of our members and have access to all of our members. And then it talks about positive space for transportation for the 5 union representatives, which we all will elect. So we know we're going to have a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer. And if they have to do business for us, the company will provide positive space. Unlike, I don't know if a lot of you know, during the course of this negotiations, we, as your representatives on the negotiation committee, were not offered positive space. So once again, the union many times picked up the tab for us to fly to our meetings because we had to be there and we didn't have positive space. So when people say, you know, how much has the union invested in us? They've invested a lot of money in us just to help us get this contract. So very important here, the union shall have the right to meet with new hire crew members for the purpose of providing information related to the membership to the union during initial training. Will be provided with an adequate meeting space at the lodge or an assigned base for free of charge. We have many of our new hire flight attendants that have been unable to talk to us to get any information with us because we've had to do it. They've been thrown out online. They didn't get any help at all. And we all know when we're new, we need some direction. And so now the union will be there for all of our new hires to help them along in the process. Upon request, the union will be provided with scheduling, bidding, reserve, and the exchange of trip information associated with the investigation and processing of specific grievances or issues. We currently know today, when you're called in for a meeting, it's all secretive. You're not provided with anything regarding anything. But now we'll have the right to get all information that we need to help represent you in any issue that might occur. Management will inform in-flight crew members of their right, your right, to have a union representative present at any investigatory meeting or a meeting that could result in a disciplinary action. You never have to be alone. We'll be always there to support you. All you have to do is ask and you'll get someone. We'll be there. The company will notify the union in advance of any new technologies pertaining to the in-flight crew member work group. The promises of updating all our systems will also be run by us, and we'll have able to have discussion regarding anything. Regarding the Jews checkoff program, an in-flight crew member may elect payroll deductions for the purposes described below by completing the applicable checkoff form. We will be having a checkoff form for you to sign that'll authorize the deductions of your union dues. The deductions shall begin on the first pay period occurring more than 10 days following the company's receipt of the electronic data files that specify the in-flight crew member's employee number and his associated deductions. So once again, once we ratify our contract, it'll be a few months before we'll be able to collect all the cards, get all the information processed, and that's when our union dues will start. It also says under that section, insurance, voluntary insurance premiums as specified by the union. Sometimes the union will offer separate types of insurance that you can purchase in addition to maybe the things that we have that are offered by the company. We had a presentation a couple of years ago by a group of gentlemen who provide different insurance policies at great rates to union employees. So once we get our local up and running, that information will be provided to them, and then it will be provided to you to decide if you'd like to have perhaps more insurance products that might be helpful to you. It also says assessments as designated by the local union. Once again, that would be for our local union to decide. That would be for the membership to decide. It will all be discussed with you. Nothing will be thrown upon you until we have complete discussion and election of our union officers. Union business. So this section talks about how the in-flight crew member will continue to attain and accrue seniority and how the leaves are planned. And turning the page, the company shall grant union leave for the union local board of directors for meeting and negotiations. This is how they get paid. The union local officers will submit for their needs for union leave on a monthly basis, and leaves will be granted. And let's see, what else it does this discuss? It talks about pre-blocking, how the union officers have to do all of this in advance. And the union will reimburse the company for all union leave paid. So we do have to reimburse our company for the officers that we will elect to represent us when they have to be off the line. Then it goes into discussing the planned absences and the cost of fringe benefits. We come to another very important part, the in-flight fatigue event review committee. No less than one union representative shall be a voting member of that fatigue committee. You know how it is today, no representation, fatigue is denied. Now we have a seat at that table as well. You will have a union representative to represent you at a fatigue hearing should you have to use the fatigue event. The company will provide flight pay loss and the fringe benefits in according with a bank of 1,400 hours per year to be used at the discretion of the local union, and in-flight crew members attending special meetings at the request of the company on behalf of the union, or in-flight crew members working on projects initiated by the company. My favorite is the last one, transactional event. We now have protection. In the event the company is party to an acquisition which could affect the seniority rights of in-flight crew members, where another carrier purchases the company or JetBlue is not the surviving company, the company and the union agree to meet and negotiate an amount of money to defray union legal business. In the event the company purchases another carrier is the surviving carrier in a transaction affecting the seniority rights of the in-flight crew members, the issue of reimbursement for union business expenses related to seniority integration and joint collective bargaining negotiations will be addressed at the time of the transaction. We are protected in the event of any mergers, acquisitions. There will be money there to provide for us. We have a representative and a seat at the table, unlike anything we have today. So that ends the section on union information.
All right, thank you, Dee. Our next article is going to be Article 16, that's attendance. That's also going to be done by Brendan. Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Taisha, and I'll be quick because I know we're running short on time. But the attendance article is one that obviously is one that is super important to us as in-flight crew members, because we're living under our attendance policy every day that certainly isn't the best policy, as we all know. We looked for many opportunities throughout this negotiation as a negotiating team to improve on our current attendance policy. Unfortunately, the company was unwilling to bargain on this issue and just made it clear from the beginning, really, despite our best efforts, despite all the arguments we made for why improvements needed to be made to current policy, the company was not willing to include an attendance policy with what's called the control procedures, the points accruals, and so forth in the agreement. So that was something that was difficult for us to get past, but we would not have an agreement today if we were still focused on including an attendance policy in our agreement, because the company was not willing to do so. What I will say, and what needs to be made clear to everyone on the call and everybody listening and all in-flight crew members, is that despite the fact that our attendance policy is not included in the agreement, we do have, because we have grievance rights under the contract, those grievances don't just apply to the enforcement of our contract, but also to company policy. And that is not often or sometimes that's not appreciated by everyone, because we are all focused on the legally binding contract that we will have, and that's obviously first and foremost. But we also will have the right and the ability to grieve any unjust changes to company policy if the company chooses in the future to change our attendance policy or any other company policy, but also the ability to grieve any misapplication of company policy. Stated company policy that's not applied correctly is grievable. And so if the company doesn't follow company policy, we are able to grieve those misapplications or not the company not following company policy. Lastly, I'll just say we were able to, because we fought this article for many months and years, we were able to get the company to agree that and we've codified the 12-month rolling period for attendance points to fall off your record. That was something that the company wanted to change, and something that we were steadfast that could not change. So that is something from in the attendance policy that can never change once we ratify this agreement, unless we as a union agree to change that length of time. So the attendance policy was a big effort on negotiations, but just because it's not in the attendance in the agreement doesn't mean we are powerless when it comes to the attendance issue. We only have an ability to fight any changes that may occur to our attendance policy if we ratify this agreement, because we have no fight, we have no ability to address any changes to our attendance policy if we don't have a contract, as we know from our experience currently. So that's all I'll say. I'll throw it back to you, Taisha. Thank you.
All right, our next part of the town hall that we're unpacking actually has to deal with our pay scale. This is going to be picked up by Sonia. Sonia is our Boston negotiating team representative, and I'm going to hand it to her at this time. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Taisha. Are you going to share your screen with that scale for me, please?
Yes, as soon as
Thank you.
I have the ability, yes, and yeah, you can start and I will share my screen shortly.
All right, wonderful. So the TAP steering team has put together a wonderful pay scale flyer that has been available in the bases along with the paper copies of the tentative agreements, and they will continue to be available for the upcoming duration of our open voting period. But as Taisha's put on the board here, I'm going to go over how to read this pay scale, as there's been a little bit of confusion as to how to read it. If you look at, we've got a nice example here. This is going to be an over and step down grid. So if you see on the left-hand side, we've got the years of seniority. Our current way we've always read it, we've only had the one pay raise. You've just gone down the list, found your year and moved over. But now essentially we're going to have two raises for those crew members that are here 13 years and under. As we know, 13 years is our cap, and that's going to continue as well. So if you are seniority years 1 through 13, again, this is going to be an over current rates. As you can see here, we're just going to quickly go through this because I know we're kind of crunched for time. The current rate is our current pay rate. DOS is date of signing. So date of signing, January 1, 2022. So on the date of signing, every year you will receive the pay increase. That's part of our contractual date of signing. You will also continue to receive your anniversary step ups. So as you can see here, on date of signing for the person here at year 3 will be $30.49. We were not able to gain any raises for 2022 as the company needed it to be a cost neutral fiscal year. So 2022 will remain cost neutral for the contract. However, on your 4th year, your 3rd anniversary, excuse me, you would get your your anniversary raise. And then on January 1st, 2023, you get your contractual raise. So again, you're looking at the first will be your anniversary. The second move over would be your contractual date of signing. On your 5th year, you're going to take a step down. That would be your anniversary date. You'll take a step over to the right on the 1st of the following year for that next rate. Once again, on your next anniversary, step down and over until you reach your 13th year for the anniversary rates. And then we will have contractual rates the next time we start negotiating after 2026. So that's a pretty quick little introduction to how to read the pay scale. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know. And I'm going to hand it over to Stacy because I know she's got chock full of information about compensation. And I just wanted to give you that briefly. Thank you. Taisha, back to you.
Okay, stop sharing. There we go. I'm going to hand it off to Stacy. Stacy is going to be unpacking the article compensation. Compensation article is, let me get it really quick because I have a lot of screens open on my screen. Compensation article is Article 23, and I'm going to hand it to Stacy. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. And Taisha, if you can, if it's not too much trouble, can you do me a favor and put up the PTO VPTO flyer that we have there as well, just briefly, so everybody can access that. So first, we're going to explain to you how to read this. And the current company scale versus ours, you bump up into a higher bracket at years 5 and year 10, and again, over 15 years once you get in, you get into the 20-year jump there. So you're going to have, right in 2023, you're going to have an 8-hour gain, a 17-hour gain, or a 34-hour gain. But if you are at year 5, you gain 26 over company policy. Year 10, you gain 35 over company policy. If you go down to 24, then you're at 16, 33, or 68-hour gain over current policy. And of course, year 5, it's a 34-hour gain, and year 10, it's actually a 51-hour, gain over current policy. So these are significant gains here, and we did go over that on another town hall, but we just want to make that kind of something that you're aware of. There's a little bit of flexibility invested to make the overall gains there. Now we want to talk about the compensation article, and a lot of it is really self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go over point by point. You can read it, but we just want to highlight, if you are Mint and you're assigned to core, that's going to be paid at JRA rates. Another gain is junior assignment on your time off. That's going to be a new duty rig. So even if they attach it to a previously existing pairing that you have, you get tagged at the end of a pairing, it's not going to eat up the rig for your original pairing. It's going to be a new duty period, no matter how they put it on your line. So you're going to get all of the rig you had for your pairing, and then you're going to get a new duty rig for the additional JRA. And so that has a minimum of 5-hour duty period rig. Pay protection is for your OSP. Your 1 day can't become a 2 day. That's now only credited still at the 1 day pay protection. And rescheduled pairing pay is outside of your originally scheduled pairing footprint, even if it is on the same day. So that is a big gain for us. Again, rescheduled pairing pay is for any reschedule modification outside of your original footprint. And of course, we have the lump sum payment. And this is money available to us for this year only. And it's a result of the PSP that we talked about earlier. It works out to more than a percentage raise for 1 year. So, for those who are saying, well, why don't we get a raise next year? This is actually more than that would have been. And you get it all now instead of having to wait. Another way to think of it, you can think of it as covering between 2 to 3 years of dues, depending on what the taxes work out to. So no matter what, it's $14.50 that's ours to use or save after ratification. Now, if we want to talk about compensation in a more abstract way, as opposed to just reading down the TA, we're hearing a lot about the compensation not being enough, or this TA is the same as the last one, or there's nothing in it for senior IFCs who topped out. And I want to shed a little bit of light on the compensation aspect of this that's beyond just reading it. So this is a rough estimate because we had to compare to 2019 instead of 2020 due to COVID. But this TA is valued at $37 million more than the previous TA, just in pay and time off. So that's really significant. The total value above the current JetBlue pay and time off is $108 million over 5 years. This contract puts $108 million more towards IFCs than if we did not have this contract over the next 5 years. This doesn't include money from pay elements like E14, reschedule pay, JRA, mint assigned to core, et cetera. Those can't be predicted or calculated in advance. It also doesn't include the value protections afforded by scope, health and safety, a scheduling committee, disciplinary grievance, or remedies awarded through grievance and arbitration, as those can't be quantified and they are priceless. But what does that mean for me as a person who's topped out? You know, we've heard it's $1 a year. We've heard after 5 years it's locked in until we negotiate a new raise, and that doesn't sound so great. But let's take a look at some numbers, and we'll do quick and dirty math since no one ever works the same exact hours to the minute, so it's all rough estimates anyway. So say you're a topped out IFC who works 80 hours a month. It's not too high. You're on the straight scale. Obviously, if you work more and choose the premium scales, these numbers increase exponentially. The difference in pay over the life of the contract is 10%. For you specifically, as you're topped out, it's $5.85. So for ease of math, we're going to round that up to 6. Again, we've heard $1 a year and that we have to wait a year. So let's start this at 2023 and divide by 4. So we're just going to rough average that to $1.50 a year. But we have to remember is this is cumulative. The raises compound year over year. So back to those 80 hours. Now you have $1.50 times 80 in 2023. That works out to be $1,440. Now the next year, that's $3 because it's compounding. So in 2024, those 80 hours times 12 becomes $2,880. The next year, $450 times 80 times 12, $4,220 extra in 2025. And by 2026, we're at $5,760. Now, minus a little because I rounded up by 15 cents, but that's the general idea. So now we look at per diem, and currently it's $2.15. Next year, it goes up by 5 cents, and by top of scale, it's 30 cents. So for every hour of time away from base, say you're that same IFC working around 80 hours, you do a good bit of layovers, your time away from base for the year might be 2,700 hours. Your per diem will be an additional $135 in 2023, an additional $810 a year by 2026. Now, say you work higher time and you have 4,500 hours of time away from base for the year. That's $225 additional in 2023. And by 2026, it's an additional $1,350 over current JetBlue per diem. So, and I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable there, sorry. So now let's take a topped out IFC and you're working 90 hours. So I can round down on each of these numbers now. It's 2026. And again, quick and dirty math. You're looking at a $6,000 a year pay increase, $1,000 per diem increase, and 4,000 additional hours paid of VPTO. So that's an increase of $11,000 per year in 2026 and every year after until we negotiate a raise. And again, you know, do the math for yourself based on what you fly, what pay scale you're on. But just to say, if you're at 90 roughly average, $11,000 per year. And I would say in combination with the additional pay elements mentioned above and or previously, and those priceless guarantees and protections that we talked about, I'd say that's a strong foundation to build on. So it's food for thought, numbers to think about, and I hope you'll take a look at the math, really look at the math and see how it works out for you. Thank you.
All right, so that ends our article unpacking for this town hall. We have one question that was submitted from the website. Any other questions that are submitted will have to be either A, rolled into a TW email, or B, we personally individually responded back to the email that is sent to TW negotiating team. So this first question is about retro pay. And basically they're asking, is retro pay available since we're negotiating a contract? And will retro pay happen since we haven't gotten a raise since 2018? And that question, I'm gonna leave to the NT. Who's answering that question? Anyone?
Yeah, I
Excuse
can
me,
answer it.
can you just,
You got it, Stacey?
I was gonna say, can you just tell me again what it was?
Oh, well, I'll
Sorry, so
take
go
it.
ahead, Brendan.
Yeah, the answer is that retroactive pay, as mentioned in the question, is when you have a contract in place already. So you have a CBA in place, and it becomes amendable under the Railway Labor Act. Oftentimes, when negotiations take place, which can take some time, once a new contract is ratified, those new rates of pay will apply retroactively to when the contract became amendable. So if you're in negotiations for a year, let's say, you oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes those pay rates, the new pay rates under the new agreement will be applied retroactively. So any hours that you had worked over the year of negotiations will be the difference in pay between the old pay scale under the previous contract and the new pay scale under the newly agreed to contract the difference will be paid retroactively. Since we don't have a contract in place, we have no previous rates of pay under a collectively bargained agreement to go back to and be paid the difference retroactively. So that's something to certainly look forward to under our second contract, but we need to ratify our first contract in order to get to retro pay on the second one. So appreciate the question.
All right, thank you, Brendan. And then as a housekeeping note, I do want to reiterate again, our lump sum payment is $1,450. There is no incentive, performance or seniority incentive attached to this. This is different than what the company is offering with the $1,000 in bonus incentive, of which not everyone will be able to qualify for and therefore won't be able to get. So with this $1,450 lump sum payment, it is available to everyone. How it's divvied out will depend on your leaves of absence when that gets to you, but everyone, if the TA is ratified, will receive a $1,450 lump sum payment. Again, it's not a bonus because it's not a performance or seniority based kind of payment. And I just want to make that, again, very, very clear as it relates to this specific town hall as we're talking about pay and compensation. So this concludes our final town hall. It is 11:05, so we will be ending on time. We thank everyone for showing up to this town hall and our negotiating team for spending the time to answer questions so that we can gain clarity and understanding as it relates to our TA2. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us, and we hope you have a good rest of the day, and we look forward to seeing you all on the other side, with the caveat that voting does open tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. Thank you. Bye.